Hello, I'm Dara, and this is the healing for the wounded feminine and the fabric of reality. A little bit of information about this healing before we get into it. One of the other phrases that came up that you'll hear was the great rebalancing. So in this session, we're working at the level of the fabric of reality. So the most subtle material expression. This can also be thought of as blueprints or kind of the architecture or fundamental forms or structures of reality. And we're working with it to engage in or encourage the great rebalancing of the fundamental polarity or duality of reality that can be described as the masculine and the feminine. So pure consciousness self-interacts, and in that self-interacting dynamic, it creates the expression of the masculine and the feminine. This is one way of describing the mechanics of reality. And of course, the masculine and the feminine can also be described by other terms, for example, yin and yang. So here, we're dealing with the masculine and the feminine expression at the most subtle form of reality. And so you may feel this as an extremely subtle process, or you may experience it at a denser, more surface level, like at the level of the ancestors and the DNA, or you may experience it at the level of the small self, or even the physical body. And one other note to make here is that this particular process emerged after I had spent many weeks working with a quality of confusion from the masculine that was being projected onto the feminine. And this confusion can be thought of as shadow or containing shame or disowned aspects. And in this masculine confusion being projected onto the fundamental feminine, it both was serving to further a quality of separation or bifurcation between the masculine and the feminine. And it was also being projected in such a way that was kind of out of the awareness of the masculine. So kind of a deeper double down on that separation. And I'll make another note here, which is that personally, I have done a huge amount of work over the last several years on the masculine expression, the masculine experience. And so while you hear in this session the perspective of the feminine, and particularly the wounded feminine, I would like to remind you that this is just one perspective and one expression. It's just one part of the much greater story of this rebalancing and reintegration. And so we must encounter all of these aspects and all of these expressions across the whole experience of being an embodied human being along our path. So in no way does this favor the masculine over the feminine. It is simply that here we are giving voice to an expression of the feminine that is ready to be heard and experienced directly by all of us, by anyone who is ready and willing to listen and express this through our personal direct experience. So just take a few moments to settle and enter into a receptive field of allowing.